Hello Internet friends. Thank you for joining me today. It is LauraJane and I have a card today that's a little unique to me. I don't usually have critters on my card, so this is a special day. We're going to be doing a little bit of stamping, a little bit of ink blending on this card, as well as some artist marker detail work. Items we're using today, focusing on this stamp set called Dreamy Cat. Such a sweet image, little cat sleeping on a crescent moon. I thought that was just really precious. And we'll be using the coordinating dies, as well as the simple coloring stencils to that Dreamy Cat. I'm going to be using the T for 2 stamp set for just a little bit of an accent stamping on that cat's blanket. And bringing in the older set called Tea Time for another image there, a bowl and kind of a floral, a little bit of a floral, a twig with some blooms. Also using the Summer Garden paper pack for the background paper. So this is an A2 size card front. And here I have the Altenew Stamp Conditioner tool, which is a perfect thing to use the first time that you use the stamp. It conditions, takes off any extra residue from the process of making the stamp. So we're just using the main image here of the cat sleeping on the crescent moon and the little thought cloud. And I ink those up with Silver Lake crisp ink. I'm going to leave those stamps in the Misty tool and set the tool aside. Next we're going to move on to some ink blending through the simple coloring stencil. First thing, I'm going to be using the mini ink blending tools. I have a 4 in a set, and I do mix my colors. As you can see, we have yellow, red, blue / purple, and green. So the first color I'm working with here is the sea glass on that moon. And there's no masking that needs to be done with this simple coloring stencil, because I plan on using the die to cut it out, so if things get colored outside the lines, not a big deal. So I realized that moon was a little too purple, because obviously I had used purple on that ink blending tool before, and there was a little purple residue. So I moved to the ocean waves and got a little bit darker blue. Moving on with the thought bubble and just going straight to that ocean waves. Now I am wiping off that stencil in between colors. Next we're going to place the stencil where that kitty cat is. We have the tail that matches up, as well as the head and front leg. Have the yellow butternut, and once again, because my blending tool had a bright yellow color, I'm sure it was like lemon burst or something on it. I thought this yellow was a little too bright for the cat, so I moved on to pumpkin pie, which worked out much better. Inking up the pillow with Lavender Fields. And moving on to the blanket. Decided to make that blanket a little bit lighter, and This is Soft Lilac. Just putting a light blending and now there are little bitty places here, as you can see, for the inside of the ears on the cat. This is pink pearl for the ears, and I use the small blending detail brush. And here I decided to wing it and take the image from Tea for Two to add the flower image to the blanket. Inked it up with Lavender Fields and just got a very light impression. Usually I would use the Misty tool and I would have restamped that to make coloring easier, but I didn't. And I went ahead and went with the same technique here, use the acrylic block to ink up the bowl on the thought bubble, and that was Tea Time. Remember, that's where that bowl was from. So I'm moving on with the artist markers. This is the Vanilla Cream, and I'm coloring in a little bit darker here, some shadows on the ears and a little bit of the front leg and paw of the kitty. Now this coloring just goes on forever here. I just enjoy the coloring, so I will be speeding these up. If you want to see the exact colors that I'm using, I have the caps up here that have the names of the marker that I'm using. That is Lavender Fields, going with a little bit of shadowing under the front paws and front leg of the kitty, and adding a little bit of texture with dots on that pillow. For some reason, I started with the bullet end of that marker, and it was a little bit thicker than I liked, so I flipped it over and went to the brush end of it, just going over the lines of that image on the blanket, the pretty flower there. Lavender Fields again for a little bit of blending for shadows, and my coloring, I realize it's very difficult to see because my hand is over what I'm coloring. So I pretty much colored that bowl the same as I did floral on that blanket. Now here's a trick that I like to do after I'm coloring something, just to get a really good definition of the outlines. I took that Silver Lake and restamped that image. And next I took the fine liner pen and added some more detail around on that blanket, as well as on the little eyes and the lips. That washi tape is from the Enjoy the Ride washi tape collection. I have so much washi, and I decided, you know what, I might as well use the Happy Washi from Altenew to hold the dies with. And then we'll move on to the background. But first, adding a little bit more detail to the bowl. Let's say I think this kitty is dreaming about some coconut milk. So this is the O2 fine liner pen. Right now I have cut the pattern paper down just slightly, so there will be a nice white edge around on an A2 size card. And I used the Silver Lake with that little floral sprig from Tea Time. And I stamped that twice on the background. Decided my placement, and then added just a few more right down there at the bottom. Use the Altenew tape runner to hold the key in place. Afterthought, it would have been nice to pop that up with the dimensional tape. Altenew has, oops, that's a secret. Anyway, some dimensional tape would have been really good there, but I didn't use it. So I just used the tape runner, held that in place, and stamped the sentiment using the Midnight Violet and Deep Iris mixed together there. I decided on this second card here I wanted to go with purple, which was slightly different than the original card, which you can see there. Slightly different colors happening on the moon, and proof that every card is unique when you're crafting. So this video is part of the Altenew A Touch of Whimsy video hop. Thank you for stopping in today. Remember to leave a comment along the way at each stop on the hop for chances to win prizes. Thank you for joining me today, crafting your life with Altenew and LauraJane. We'll see you next time. Bye.